What is going on, Z Warriors? Mr. Waffles here, and today I have a deck profile for you guys using an MP that was been dominant for the first couple of sets of the game, and I'm talking about Krillin. You don't really see him as much just because everything that Krillin does, especially at least in my Resolute, Goku can do pretty much better. You know, you have the AKs, which cancel out the discs. You have on the level 2, it can also crit, so you don't have to just try and camp on 1 or something like that. It's just more damage output. Goku's also in a higher bracket, so you can take more damage in terms of physicals a lot easier than Krillin can. So it's a little bit rougher, but the reason I went with like Krillin just because you see Trunks with all the combat enders, and I figured like, hey, like Krillin has a couple in terms of like the solar flare and things like that. So it's not too far off, but obviously Trunks can do it more consistently because Trunks Slam just makes opponent pass, whereas Krillin's Solar Flare needs to hit. But, a lot of people really don't expect a Solar Flare, so, that was another reason I just kind of wanted to tinker with it and kind of see where it went. And just because Resolute is also a strong mastery, so I figured, why not give it a try? So, start things off, we have the 2 heroic dash and punches. Obviously, we all know why it's good. Again, being able to skip and just kind of deal a lot of damage. Also good for banishment, so if I have some banishment issues, it's just a good way to just kind of just get a lot of things removed from play. Then I have 3 Playful Punch. So Playful Punch, we all know what it does. You gain stages. What's really good about it is just it's another way for me to protect myself from being stage locked against certain decks. So, and also lowers anger. So that's another reason why I was like, I gotta definitely add this card in, just because you never want to just get outright blown out by like a physical deck, especially with all the cards being stronger now. You really need to have some. Next up, 3 Sinister Choke. What's better than 3 disc? 6. So we played 3 Choke, and the fact that it's coming in for 6 is also good. So it's just a big beefy attack. 3 Blue Betrayal. I played 3 just because, again, I want to just kind of clear certain things. Not everything you can clear. Like the allies you can kind of take care of with his power, and also like D-Disc and Choke, but it's more so for like setups and board removal. That's I primarily use it for, so I just want to maximize on that. 3 Blue Head Knock, we all know why, just staple, again to clear the anger. 3 Blue Leverage, the card replaces itself, so it's really good in that sense. It's just another way to just filter out your hand. They might give you a bad card, and then you can just mastery and draw the good card anyway. 2 Blue Deterrents, being able to lower anger, so you just want to also try and have anger control. This deck has a good amount of anger control because you have the Playful Punch, the Pesky Barrages, Krillin's Power, Head Knocks, things like that. So I probably might bump it up to 3. What I might actually do is probably swap, like a Leverage for a Deterrence and another Crouch, because Crouch also replaces itself in this deck. So I can also get more Endurance, but we also play a 2 Crouch just because you can just stack it on top, so you constantly see it. Now for the energies, we have 2 Blinding, just because again you kind of just want to get out of combat, just like blinding bail out. 2 Pesky Barrage. I play 2 just because it's very cost effective, so it's going to drain you 4 stages, but I just like the fact that it can stay on the table to be used again. So coming in for 6, lower anger 2. I thought it was pretty neat, and just being able to just kind of outpace your opponent just by throwing out more attacks. 3 Krillin Solar Flare. Again, another card just to, if your opponent doesn't expect it, can really just swing certain combats, just because you just enter and then they don't expect a Solar Flare and they pass and you just pass as well. So it's a good card just to have. Again, another way to just bail out a combat if possible. 3 Disc, you all know why, staple. 2 Energized Strike. I'm trying this card out just because, again, for anger, for Retribution Mastery, things like that, just being able to kind of shut that off and slowly lower their anger with like all the other cards. So you're kind of leading with the E-Strike if it hits. They can't gain anger outside of physical energy combat cards, and then you use cards like Head Knock or Choke or whatever, anything just to crit, just to lower it down. So we play the 2 of those. 1 Blue Terror, you all know why. 3 Arm Blast, again, another way just to prepare yourself against physical based decks. So in total we have 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 10 like solid like physical blocks, which is really good. So it's just another way to just really protect yourself. 3 Blue Neck Beam, multiple uses. Again, also against stage locked, good way to gain stages, so that's very helpful. and also to hit to lower your opponent's MP or even raise them. So play 3 of those. Um, two blue blanketing blasts. Again, the cost is very high, but it's just a utility factor, so you can stack whatever you want on top. So that's why I figured 2 is a good number for this, just because 4 and 3 is a lot, especially if you're using your power. That's 5, so you can't really afford too many stages. 2 blue guard. I'm probably just gonna bump this up to 3 because advantage. It's too good not to play. Again, just being able to also have a good secondary energy block that can also be used to just draw more cards and works wonders with Krillin's level 1 power. 3 blue Narrow Escape, good way to just reuse like your discs, your Solar Flare, your Pesky, blindings, things like that. You know, if Terra falls out, you can stack it on top. So just multiple uses for pretty much all the good energy combat cards that are in your deck. For events, we have Time. We all know why. 2 Confro. I played 2 Confro and 3 Sphere just because since this deck really wants to always go in, a lot of times I always felt that if I lead in with the Sphere, it can kind of just slow me down in a sense that if I need to kind of just end combat, if I like have a Solar Flare for some reason, and then I'm just entering, and then I go in with like the Solar Flare, and then they have the time or some kind of event to stop it, I can just, you know, Sphere it right away instead of using like the Confro to seek it out and then try and hit it with something else. I felt it was just kind of slow. But I might bump it up to 3 just because I just play 3 and 3 just because being able to strip the hand is always good. So it's, and also, you know, with Vegeta running around, you know, you don't want to really get caught with that because it can just be a dead card. But it's a card that, you know, can really fluctuate between, like, a lot of people I see might play 3 Confro, 2 Sphere and stuff. It's just Sphere I always want to see just because of other things like Unleashed and other crazy events. 2 Shifting Maneuver. This is another card I just put in there. Boosts added endurance. Just Omni Block is just straight up good. I just like it again because of the fact that you were just able to have that in your hand and just being able to just kind of block anything if need be. Again, since I'm running like blue guard and I'm gonna probably maximize copies on that, I figure that I also need another secondary energy block in a sense. You know, if I'm primarily using like Narrow Escape, it gets banished after use, and I usually want to use guard for this effect. So blue Shifting Maneuver is just another way just to have another energy block since I have a lot of physicals. So, you know, it's just I figured Omni Block, why not, just in case you're going against something else, you know, you have it for a physical block as well. 2 lifting, blue lifting drill. This card's amazing just because it's a +1 on the field, like Black Declaration. You can kind of almost compare it to. It gives everything +1, so it really just puts out a lot more damage that way. And also, if your opponent attacks, if you attack and your opponent blocks, they lower their anger. So it's really good if you need to be aggressive and they need to be on the defensive. At least you still get the anger lowering benefit of that. This card's really cool because for those who don't know, if you're on Krillin 1 and you have 3 anger, and then you use Krillin's effect and you discard the blue lifting drill, you would level up and then the drill will come into play, which is really sick. So you start at level 2 with a drill. And then 2 VTPs, another good card for toolboxing, just to be able to get key cards. And last but not least, the 1 Earth Dragon Ball 7. Again, another way just to end combat. So this deck is a lot about like want to stay in combat, but at the same time it doesn't mind being out of combat because you can just throw like one big attack, whether it be like your power for like 5 or even with lift and drill for 6, and then just kind of like bail out or something like that. It's just multiple uses for the ball. So I figured if I'm already kind of going with like this whole kind of combat ending kind of theme with the blindings, the solar flares, I figured might as well just cap it off with Earth Ball 7. So this is just the first stages of it. Again, there's a couple of things I do want to change, like for the leverages, for example, because I figured a lot of times not only don't give you the bad card, but the problem with this deck is I also have a lot of non-styled cards. So, you know, it's really hard sometimes to just even use Krillin's effect because I have a good amount of non-styled cards. So I might take out the Peskies or something like that and add in for like some more styled stuff just to being able to trigger Krillin's effect more. But I figured a lot of the non-style cards I have are pretty good. Again, like the dashing punches, the playful punches again for stages, the chokes, which are obviously just chokes, blinding, D-disc obviously, solar flare, and the E-strike. So if anything that might go is probably the 2 E-strike and the 2 Peskies for something that has endurance and that's styled and lowers anger. So maybe like blue slash to something along those lines. You know, I can probably tinker with stuff here and there. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But yeah, give this deck a try. It's a lot of fun. Again, for those who really like Krillin and, you know, haven't given up on him, you know, I suggest to give it a try. There's a lot of ways you can build it with either allies, with Allied Blitz. It's another card I had in here initially, but the problem I found with Allied Blitz is if I have Allied Blitz, I would need another. I need at least a physical block, so I don't get state block to make the Allied Blitz useless, you know. And then I also need like a bunch of energy attacks, so I figured it was just too much for me to kind of have to go right for Allied Blitz to work, even though the Endurance 3 is nice. But at the same time, I just figured it's probably really good, obviously, in an Allied base deck, hence Allied, you know, Blitz. So that's pretty much it for the deck profile. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. And if you have any questions, you know, just remember to put them on the comments down below, or any comments, you know, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. With that being said, Mr. Waffles is out.